The following episode is brought to you by Poison City Brewing, proud makers of Durban Poison Cannabis Lager, the beer that invites you to live your poison.
Sorry, my guitarist will be joining in a second here. He's just getting all set up.
No stress. All right, here we go. It's Jeremy, right?
Yep. He's coming right in.
All right, sweet. I've just admitted him now.
But yeah, we're just basically with like the pandemic and everything, we're basically trying to have as much of an online presence as we can. It's really the only thing you can do as a band right now is basically, put out content and, as many different venues as many different avenues as possible. Yeah, there we go. Platforms. There we go.
I think the last gig that I played was December 2019. So it's been literally nearly a year that I have, or over a year that I haven't fucking played a show, and it is it's so depressing. And Nasiphi is the same because we're in a band together, so he's in the same boat.
Oh my god, it is. So we played our very first show as Wasted Space, 2 weeks before the pandemic hit. We had like 3 or 4 more shows that were already booked. We're about to get tickets to sell and shit for them, and then the world ended.
Momentum's gone. Yeah. Like literally, just all momentum. Anything is just gone.
Yeah. Well, that's why we've just been freaking grinding it online. Like taking the time to just we put out. We're gonna be in the studio again in 2 weeks. Like we put out 12 songs this year. Like just music video and everything. We're just gonna try to put just hammer content in. As much as we can right now. So when the world reopens up, like we'll have a little bit more of a base to kind of.
More of a launching point. It's dope. Like it's really cool. We were preparing for a show in March, and then literally within like a week of that show happening, our president announced that gatherings cannot have more than 100 people, and then literally like a week after that, we went into a hard lockdown.
Yeah, same here. I was at I literally 2 days before the lockdowns happened, I was at a wedding, actually, like a packed wedding. The day after that, it was, the world changed, I work full time from home now. So I haven't been to work in almost a year now.
What's the second wave been like for you guys? Because we're currently going through like a second wave and it's quite hectic, dude. Like the numbers are going up each day.
So yeah, we're kind of in the same boat. It basically like right around May, June, July, kind of August, it kind of seemed like life was almost back to normal. Like shit was pretty much open. It wasn't like super normal. People were still wearing masks everywhere. But then yeah, right around in like December, kind of October, it's pretty much we just went straight back to almost red zone. Like no indoor dining, nothing, like no events or anything like that. There's no gatherings. Like no one's getting together like for the holidays. It was very small families getting together and everything. So
well, and then the holidays also did cause some of the spike to go up as
same story here. Yeah,
like on our side, basically one of the things that sort of caused the whole spike, there's this event that happens towards the end of the year that I don't know if it's 12th grade on your side, but our matriculants, they basically, after they're done with grade 12, they go on this sort of like damn dude, it's like this massive party where all these artists and DJs sort of gather up. It's called what is it called? Rage.
It's like a major party at the coast.
Just for graduating like 12th grade. They just fucking throw a banger.
Use the absolute shit you don't understand, bro. Like
over here we literally have like what's called like senior skip day, which is like you just when you're in 12th grade, like half the graduating class goes to the beach and just like drinks, and that's it. And then it's like back to school and then graduating and going to college.
Dude, that's kind of like I don't know if you guys have seen 21 Jump Street, I think it is. They have something like that, like a party at the beach type thing. So it's pretty much very similar to that kind of vibe. And unfortunately, this happened around the time when the first wave was sort of dying out, but then the second wave was sort of starting.
Like literally shit went downhill from there.
We had a lot of crazy shit going on in the summer, a lot of people gathering out. I don't know if that did it or anything, but it definitely seemed like the holidays around America, like people meeting their families and shit. That's definitely like kind of a lot of numbers brought it up from that. But it is what it is. We got the vaccine. Hopefully, hopefully by the night, hopefully by this time next year, this will just be in the past, and we'll be playing shows, and friggin' the world will be back to normal. But
hopefully so. We can only hope. As musicians and artists and shit, you can only hope, dude. Because fuck.
I think there's going to be a huge uprise in like house shows and shit like that after this. I mean, if how they predicted venues closing down is going to be, because I think a lot of them, I think the predictions like 80% of venues in the United States will be closed down, which is like an insane number. Like I feel like shows are going to go back to being in warehouses and like basements and houses and things like that.
Which is metal as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew, I feel that it's interesting that you brought up the vaccine because like our country is currently in like is sort of divided on the vaccine because you're getting some people that are like, man, this could fucking help, but then you get some people who are like, why is the government sort of like enforcing the vaccine? Like there's some underhanded shit going on.
My favorite is 5G causes COVID. That's my favorite conspiracy at the moment.
That is a good one.
Bro, it's all the chemtrails, man. It's not 5G. They've been poisoning us for fucking 20 years. No, I'm just kidding.
Or that it was like created in a lab to like what was the original conspiracy is that China created a lab to stop the protests in Hong Kong and it just got way out of hand.
I've never heard that one. That's
that
crazy.
Was like the first one they came up with was that the Chinese government invented it to stop the like riots in Hong Kong, and it just like went way further than they thought it would, and they couldn't stop it, and they're just like, well, it's out there now.
We fucked up, so good luck.
We're getting the same thing here with the vaccine. I mean, there's a ton of healthcare workers that are refusing it. There's like I personally like, I think it's like, what are you more afraid of, right? Like, we really don't know what the long-term effects of COVID are, and we probably really don't know the long-term effects of this vaccine either. So it's kind of like, what are you more afraid of, I guess? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to get vaccinated, probably. Like,
someone in the United States who took it died after taking it. So, like, I don't know if it's all, like, hearsay or what, but...
You don't know what to believe anymore. That's the thing.
Oh, right. I know. I mean, that's the worst part about all this shit. That, like, I think that's the worst thing that's come out of COVID is that there's, like... I mean, I think it was kind of always there. Like, I think people always kind of thought certain things were bullshit or certain things weren't bullshit or yada, yada, yada. But I think since COVID's hit, like, it's really hard to be positive that anything on the media is true at all, ever. Like,
it's very hard to be certain about anything.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm just talking about I don't even know what the view of it is like in other countries. Like, I don't even know, like, is everyone... For example, and where you guys are you kind of like, is everyone kind of unified that like, oh, like, COVID's bad, we kind of need to hide?
Because we have similar like conspiracy theories. Like we have similar like things where people are like, no, the vaccine, like one of the favorite ones on the rounds is that it has a not just a tracking chip, but a mind control chip. Like that, I can't make this shit up. Like that is what some people straight up believe. And
that's here too. It's wild.
My favorite argument though is that I've been trying to educate people on. It's fucking difficult though. Is that people try and compare it? So the statement is, COVID has only been around for a certain amount of time. How is a vaccine being done so quickly when there's no cure for cancer and things like AIDS? Whereas trying to explain that is a shit comparison. These are two very different things. Yeah, and how differently they work. That literally that is some people's argument about it. And yeah, man, people have
I heard that, like, because I was one of those people that was like kind of like, how'd they come up with this so fast? You know what I mean? And someone actually explained it to me. It's because it's basically they were already working on a vaccine for SARS, and they kind of started from there. And because the sickness is so like because COVID is so closely related to SARS that they already had a head start on like the vaccine.
They had groundwork. They weren't working from scratch. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I read too. It's crazy. Like you can literally go to the street and pick two different people off the street, and one person will say like COVID doesn't even exist, and the other person thinks that we're all gonna die. Like that's how fucking divided it is.
Same story here. Like Naz and I have the unfortunate situation. We both work in what is our country defines as essential services. So we have literally been working through most of like the heavier lockdowns. So we have literally been dealing with people, and
oh really?
It's fucking terrifying. Like you get to see these people face to face. You get someone in front of you, straight up in front of you, mid-pandemic, who does not believe this thing even exists, and you're fucking covered head to toe in protective gear.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's wild. It really is wild. Like, I even talking to my parents, like, no one that's alive right now has ever lived through something this like uncertain, I guess.
Like the last proper pandemic, like worldwide pandemic, was also the 1920s, I think, was the Spanish flu, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I stand corrected, but I know there was another pandemic right about that time. And you're right, like that was literally 100 years ago. Like no one from that time frame is alive at this point.
It's crazy. Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, it's like no one knows how to handle it too. Like there's so many problems going on with just like mental health and like other shit that's going on with this. Like, I mean, obviously people are losing all their money and their businesses and shit. And like, I mean, music and art is dying by the minute. It's like, it's definitely, it's very unprecedented for most people to deal with in any way. And I honestly think we could be doing a lot worse though. So, you know what I mean? It's not horrible. Like,
yeah, like I think you're right. Things could be significantly worse. But we've jumped straight into like one of the most like hot topics in the world at this point. But like, let's actually get to why you guys are here. Let's get to like the actual music side of it. Introduce yourselves and your band and what kind of music you make. Just speak about your music. Let's actually get to that topic.
Yeah. So
Jared, take it away.
I was gonna say I'm Jeremy. I'm the guitar player. That's Matt. He can introduce himself, or I basically just introduced him, so it doesn't matter. But he's just the vocalist, so he doesn't really need to talk much. But yeah, and we're from a band called Wasted Space from Buffalo, New York, in the United States. So,
and yeah, I'm Matt. I do vocals.
Nice. And obviously you guys do new metal, and you know, with my experience, like when someone says new metal to me, dude, I automatically think, and I don't know if this has got anything to do with some of the stuff that we get here in South Africa, but I immediately think of like Linkin Park. I immediately think of like, oh man, this is not really even a guilty pleasure, but what you call these guys, man? Fuck, what are these guys? Marcel,
Limp Bizkit?
Limp Bizkit, yes. Those are the guys that I think of automatically, dude. But then, yeah. But then when someone listens to your guys' sound, you can actually hear that it's quite different. It is classified as new metal, but you guys are very different. So, you know, what would you guys say for someone who hasn't listened to your guys' music? How would you sort of best describe it to them?
I think the best way to, at least in my opinion, what I would describe it as is, at least when I'm writing the songs, I always make this joke that, like, if you've ever seen one of those memes where it's like someone tried to draw a bird from memory and it looks like shit, like I'm playing metal from memory. Like, that's like when I write the riffs, I'm like, I think this is what it's supposed to sound like. So like, I mean, it's kind of like a mixture of everything. I mean, like all of our influences. I mean, Matt's probably the most heavily influenced by new metal. I would say that I'm probably more on the spectrum of like groove metal and like thrash metal. And then Colin's all over the place. Colin, our drummer, he listens to like jazz music. He listens to fusion. He listens to hip hop. I mean, and then he's like also like really into deathcore and death metal and like straight up hardcore. So it's like, I think it's even though we have like a baseline of new metal, I think the new metal really, the new metal sound for us comes with like just wanting to write groovy riffs that people can headbang to.
So like when I think of new metal too, like I think of it as like where it came about was the like basically being derivative of a bunch of different genres, right? Like the idea of like taking, you know, aspects of hip hop and hardcore and, you know, groove metal, and then, you know, infusing all these different things, industrial things like that. You know what I mean? Like all these different types of music is kind of what new metal is. And I like the idea of like when I think of like our sound and stuff like that, like I think of it as it's kind of putting fun back into just writing music. You know what I mean? Like we're trying to write music that's metal but fun, like stuff that's not necessarily like it's anger, right? It's anger. There's brashness in there, but it's about also like that fun sound. Like I want people to be jumping up and down at our shows. I want.
What's the term people use for like our generation now? Gloomers. It's like people who have like nihilistic viewpoints, but like are totally cool with it and find like the happiness and positivity in being able to like kind of create purpose for yourself as opposed to constantly searching for it. Not to get deep or anything.
I don't think that wave has hit the South African shores yet. To be honest, that's the first time. That's literally the first time that I'm hearing that term. You said gloomers.
Yeah, like it's so like, you know, because they came out with the whole term boomer, which is I think an exclusively United States term, because what it is referring to is a time period called baby boomers, which is right after World War II. Everybody started having kids, and like the population here grew like crazy. So that's what we're referring to. That's what we call old people here is boomers.
Well, actually, that term has hit our shores.
Yes. So
I was gonna deal with the boomers, man.
There's doomers and then there's gloomers. Doomers are millennials, or like, I think, yeah, right? Like millennials or whatever, Generation Z
Gen
or whatever.
X or whatever the fuck we are, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Gen X and millennials who like are super nihilistic and like are depressed about it. And then there's gloomers who have nihilistic viewpoints and believe there's no purpose to life, but like take I guess solace in knowing that like that you can create your own purpose.
It's freedom to live the way you want to.
Optimistic nihilism, like it's
if that can even exist, yeah.
So then, where would you guys say you guys fall into as wasted space? Are you guys gloomers, doomers? Well, you can't really be boomers though, because you know that's the older generation. But which of the two are you guys?
I would say we are undoubtedly gloomers.
Yeah, Colin's a little more pessimistic than us. Me and Matt are like the optimists, and then Colin's just like, I don't know why we're playing music, guys. This is dumb.
You guys are a three-piece, correct?
Yep. Yes.
So you are a guitarist, a vocalist, and a drummer.
Yes.
All right. So this is just from a musician standpoint. What do you guys do in terms of the low end? Do you, as the guitarist, fill that in? Are you playing lower tuning? How are you filling in the space of not having a bassist?
So, like studio wise, when we record, I write all the bass parts as well and play them. And then when we play live, we just have the bass on a backing track right now. I think ideally we would eventually have a live bass player, whether I'm writing the songs still on bass or not, like at least have someone that performs with us. But as of right now, we perform as a three-piece with a bass backing track.
Does that sort of mean that you guys have to play, when you're playing live, do you have to play with like a click? Or is it sort of the bass guiding you? Like, how does that work?
We play with a click. We're still working on getting in-ear monitors so that at least Matt and I can hear the click too, but as of right now, the way it's done is Colin hears the click and then counts us in.
Colin does not lose time. Like he's
human metronome, basically.
Yeah. It's I've never played with a drummer that's just so fucking tight like he is.
Right. When we record, he literally records his parts first without any music. Just records his drum parts to a click track and then we record after. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
No guide track, nothing.
Nothing, no guide track. Nothing. Literally just plays to a click and plays his parts.
Holy shit, what an animal.
Yeah.
His longest.
He's a secret weapon.
Like he just sets up, gets in, one takes it, and he's like, all right, is that cool? Everyone's happy? All right, dope, I'm out of here. Like,
if I catch him on a mistake, which I did last time we were in the studio, he's a pretty like humble, modest dude. But like he came in and everybody's like, yeah, that was a good take. I'm like, you fucked up one of your kicks. And he turned and looked at me and was like, oh, yeah, where? And I'm like, and so we sit there and we listen to the whole thing. And then he hears it and he starts laughing. He's like, God damn, yep, I did.
Yeah, just looking at the fact that you guys are from Buffalo, New York. Talk me through what that whole experience was like for you guys being a band that's based off there. Because I pretty much think like you can, you know, depending on where you're from, you do tend to get some elements of the place that a person is from. Like I can say maybe if a band is from like Durban or something, you may not always see this coming through, but you'll find that there are some elements that are there, you know, about the place that each person or each band is from. Is there anything at all that screams Buffalo, New York that is sort of incorporated within your guys' music?
Yeah, I if I can field this first, and then Jeremy I'm sure can add on to it really well, but from my perspective, from Buffalo, New York has like it's a fucking angry city. Like we're a nice city, but like our music, especially a lot of the beatdown and hardcore that comes out of Buffalo, is aggressive. It's in your face, and it's fucking angry. But I feel like I noticed a lot of there's always like a little bit of a southern like twang, like little bit of like groove that's kind of like within the Buffalo metal scene, like especially. Like you're probably familiar with Every Time I Die. They're a huge Buffalo band. They're the biggest band out of Buffalo. And
Cannibal Corpse.
Oh shit, yeah,
they're pretty big too.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse, yeah. But there's like there's this kind of like there's a real just like kind of southern twang. I feel like a lot of like the guitar rating a little bit and like just kind of like a little bit like a lot of groove. Like there's a good like kind of punk elements, stuff like that. And then vocally too, like I'm a little different, but a lot of like Buffalo vocalists like it's very the vocals are very like brutish and thick. And that's something I would love to do, but my my just like I can do some brutish flows, but they're like I'm just much more comfortable at like a mid to high range. But that's what you see a lot in like Buffalo music too. But I feel like especially with Every Time I Die's music, which I think they're a little bit influenced on me vocally too. Like I kind of float around his like area of where he uses his voice a lot.
I think a part of the reason there's that like kind of southern, almost like I like the only band I can think of that really captured southern like sound in metal is Pantera, but like there is a certain like kind of bluesy vibe that comes with music from out here, and I think it comes from any city or any music scene that's kind of, you know, in kind of like a impoverished area, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say like all of Buffalo's filled with poverty, but it's a very working class area. And I think you get that in the music a lot. And I mean, it's a very prideful city. Like I think there's a lot of pride that goes into the music, like kind of I mean, we're super prideful about our sports teams. We're very like it's everything you would get out of like a cold climate, like poor city. Is just like people who are all about like the work grind and staying home on the weekends to watch some sports, you know?
Yeah. And like,
drinking.
It's cold. You know what I mean? It's cold. Everyone has to deal with snow. We all look out for each other. Like we like, there's kind of a sense of community with that. And I think that comes through in the music. Like, I think there is like a Buffalo sound almost. Like maybe I'm delusional, but it definitely, I think
maybe it's our pride.
No, that's fucking cool, guys. It's actually really nice, sort of, you know, getting not only to learn about you guys, but also just the place that you're from, dude. Like I personally knew nothing about Buffalo, New York, but it's just really dope just knowing that you guys, you know, are very proud of, you know, everything that sort of comes through from there. You know, just which sort of leads me into the fact that you guys dropped a 2-song EP, The Eater. Tell us a bit more about that there, you know, for anyone who hasn't listened. Obviously there's 2 tracks on there, Knuckles and Euthanasia. So just break it down for us. You know, what was sort of the mind frame and sort of what was sort of going on when you guys came up with this 2-song EP?
I think like the start of it was we wrote Knuckles first, I believe, and it was like quite literally I walked into practice and I said, we need like a hype song. We need like a song that we play at the beginning of the set to just get people in the mood to fight each other. And that's where Knuckles came from. Like that song is quite literally about just like, this is like a fight song. Like this is the song to get you amped up and get you, this is the pregame for the show. And then I think Euthanasia was just like, I think we just trailed off of that. Like, let's just write another song that's just like, let's punch some people, you know? Like, but that's kind of where the start is. I mean, Matt's got more information on the lyrics and stuff like that, but that's kind of where I was with writing the guitar parts and things.
Yeah, lyrically, so Knuckles, for example, lyrically, fight song, you know what I mean? Like it's about like, let's get fucking like let's get ready, like the set is starting, like get the energy up, get moving, like wake the fuck up, like we're here. And then Knuckles was, so I kind of a lot of the up until or not Knuckles, I'm sorry, Euthanasia, up until that the point of Euthanasia, a lot of my lyrics I've been trying to like, I've been very like I've been trying to write with a little bit more of a message. Like I talk a lot about politics, about how I think people should like, you know, how people should interact with each other and things like that. And Euthanasia was like, I need to get like just some fucking anger out. And it was like just watching our country's politics tear ourselves apart. Like I'm like, all right, fine. Like if we're you know, we're all like not believing this pandemic, we're all want to fight each other, yada yada. Like let's just get it over with. Let's just end us. Like fuck it. Like I'm over dealing with people and everyone like fighting each other in our society. Like let's just meet in the streets, have one big blowout, fucking end it all and call it a day. And it was just kind of like, that release. Like it was basically like, you know, like it was the first time, it was first time in a while for writing for Wasted Space where I'm like, I'm just going to write the lyrics that come into my mind at the moment. We're going to freaking feel it out and just like, you know, create this angry, fun fucking, you know, like it's not poetry in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like it's not no one's gonna be talking about like, oh, the writing from Youthanasia, like it's like some Mark Twain writing, novel or something. But I think it's just fun, and I want it to be for young kids who are fucking angry, who are tired of like watching a world they have no control over kind of tear itself apart, where they feel like they have no say in, and they just want to be fucking angry to it. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to write for that inner 16-year-old kid who really feels like they have no control and no say over the world that they're stuck in.
I really enjoy that story because that's pretty much how I got into metal. That's pretty much
same
how I ended up going down this road. Is just I remember I got into high school and I was the first bands that I was introduced to was Breaking Benjamin, Evanescence, and Bullet for My Valentine. And so here I am, like over a decade later, just like I fucking love angry music. It's the most chill thing out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh hell yeah! I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's the story of a lot of metalheads, man. I think it's it's a lot of us coming of age, feeling like we have no power, no say in our lives, like and finding that release, that power, that confidence through music.
So I think to transition us into the second part of this, let's just play out with Knuckles, and then we'll basically pick up after that. So if anyone's tuning in, we're gonna be back now. Yeah. Just on something that Matthew touched on, before we jumped into Knuckles, it was how you guys have some political views, and also even in the email that you guys sent through, you guys did mention some controversial lyricism in there about societal views and all that, and it automatically makes me think about what's been happening out in the States. I've been seeing a lot of activity when it comes to the whole Trump thing and people going out, and I'm not 100% sure what's happening that side. It seems hectic, but is it like events like those, man, like public outcry and things that are sort of happening in governments and all that, is that something that you guys as wasted space sort of see as an opportunity as well to sort of talk about when it comes to your music and all that? Is it sort of, is that part of what also influences what you guys the end product and whatnot?
Yeah,
I would say yeah.
I was gonna say I know Matt can probably speak on it more because of the lyric writing and things like that, because not necessarily all the time do my thoughts come through my guitar very straightforward. They're up for interpretation, but I mean, I think as a band we're like we're in this weird outside perspective when it comes to what's going on here, of like we don't really have a side that we're like glued to or anything, because a lot of times like the best way to explain it here is like politics can get kind of like sports-ish, like when it comes to like like people will say they have like a political affiliation. That's basically them saying they're a fan, you know what I mean, like in a weird way. And I think as a band we're not really fans of politicians in general. You know what I mean? Like, we don't like pick a politician that we're like, oh, he's the best. We're like, they're all terrible. Like, they're all lying to us. You know what I mean?
I love you.
We're on that spectrum of like, it would be like, there's some that we see and we go, oh, you know what? They seem a lot better than the last, but like, none of them have ever come forward and us been like, oh, those aren't politicians. Like, for the most part, they're all politicians. And to us, politicians are, working in the best interest of people that probably have a lot more money than us.
I went to school for political science and history. So I'm really interested in politics as much as I hate it. I would say the band is pretty apolitical. Like, I don't think we really affiliate with any party or any, like, so in America, I don't know how familiar you are with our political system, but we pretty much have two parties that run the country that fight over it every 8 years or 4 years, I guess now. And it's basically like I feel like I've just watched like since being in college, since being in the workforce now for like basically since I've really been paying attention to politics for the last 10 years, I guess, more seriously in my lifetime. I've went from being straight up like almost all the way to being wanting communism and like being a full-on red ideologist to being like, well, no, that's not going to work now, and then going more conservative, and then being back in the middle, and then kind of going back and forth. And like what I've kind of like when it comes to politics in the band, like I just feel like through my entire life I've just watched both these parties, both these sides manipulate and misuse their people and their support base to just fight over the country and keep us doing what we've been doing for like the last 250 years, which is, constantly being in foreign wars, basically doing nothing for the impoverished in our country, basically doing nothing for any of the minorities in our country, basically doing nothing for, like pretty much anybody that does, that doesn't have a full 401k, really doesn't get any love in this country. It seems, our healthcare is still tied to our employment. I could go on and on, this is politics in itself or hours of conversations and shit to bitch about. And it to me, it's like, I like to, my most happy and like my most human moments, I think, in life are when it's just me interacting with people on the basis of living life and like, maybe like, working together, not talking about these abstract ideals and what's going on in Washington, D.C. and all that crap. It's being there in the moment. And it seems, especially over this last year in the pandemic, politics and your views have become, people's full identity. It's all people talk about. It's all people want to disagree about and everything. And it's like, I'm just so over it. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I've seen the right do horrible and fucking hypocritical and bullshit shit. I've seen the left do horrible, hypocritical, crap. And it's like, I'm over it. I'm not gonna, I don't believe in any of it anymore. You know what I mean? I'm mad. I want a better world like everybody else. Or I don't even know if I want a better world anymore. I don't even know if I care about that anymore. It's like, it's that's kind of where Wasted Space comes from, is just this, like, this being so fed up with a world that, you feel like you have no say in.
I think the name Wasted Space really kind of came from this idea of like, maybe like humanity in general, kind of going back to like the nihilistic views and things like that. Like humanity in general is quite literally a waste of space. Like we have this, I'm more on the environmental side when it comes to things. And the way I see it is like, we have this beautiful planet we live on that provides so many resources and provides everything we need to live. And we absolutely just take it for granted and trash it, and like, so like, I think the idea of wasted space quite literally comes from the idea that like humanity is doing more harm to itself than it is bettering itself, or like basically anything, doing harm to just everything around it.
Let me just for now jump into the music video. You guys have a music video out for Youthanasia. Tell us a bit more about what went into that there. It's fucking brutal. Like Marcel and I checked it out. You even commented on that, gave it a like, subscribed and everything. That's the effect that you guys have. It's super clean. Who was behind the visuals? Tell us everything we need to know about that.
So quite literally, like where we shot it, I live in a trailer park, right? And there's what we call the appliance graveyard, like in kind of like tucked away near the woods near my house. And it's quite literally what it sounds like. There is literally just a graveyard of like appliances, like refrigerators, stoves, furniture, like just piled up, like definitely probably illegal. Like I don't think we can just trash it like that. But so I hit up the cinematographer or the filmmaker, whatever you want to call him. It's EMP Studios, this guy Tyler White. And I was like, yo, I've got this place to shoot. It's literally called the Appliance Graveyard behind my house. And he was like, yeah. And of course, being where we are, like the weather, I think it was like below 30 degrees when we filmed it. Like,
oh my God, it was so cold.
But there was at least like some sunlight, so we did it kind of later in the day. So we had like this beautiful natural lighting. And then when it got too cold is when we did all the filming inside my house, which is like where you see those shots where Colin's got the space helmet on and I'm playing with like a Rock Band controller and Matt's just throwing fake money everywhere.
Is there like a story behind the space helmet? Because it was sort of like out of nowhere.
It's just something I had in my house that Colin was like, "Can I wear that?" And I was like, "Sure."
Anything becomes a prop.
Yeah. We were just like looking around. We're like, "What can we use?" And we're like, "Space helmet, Rock Band controller." Gave Colin some pots and pans to bang on. Like,
it's quite nice. And is it something that you know, what sort of planning went behind that? Is this something that was a long-term thing, or was it sort of just like, hey guys, you know, let's just do this, let's just wing it?
Well, in my opinion, I think like Jeremy told me about this appliance graveyard like 7 months ago, and I was like, we need to shoot a music video here. And then it just kind of always got put on the back burner, and then, you know, yada yada yada. And then like around the holiday times, we're like, hey, let's take this release and really hammer it in. Like that's why, you know, that's, you know, how we got in contact with you guys. And we're like, hey, let's you know, take this release. We're gonna really put a lot of promotion behind it. We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna release it with a music video. And we're like, fuck it, let's do it.
I want to bring something up here. You said it was below 30 degrees, and you guys work on Fahrenheit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to do a conversion because we're Celsius. I don't know. So it basically Naz, to give you some context to when they say it was cold, brother, it was -1.
Oh my God.
Brother, to give you some context, like as to how fucking I heard that, I was like, shit, man. Like I'm pretty sure that's fucking cold. Let me go check it out. It's -1 degree Celsius. So anyone who's on the South African side and doesn't know, like if below 30, it's fucking cold. Yeah.
we are pretty far up north where we are in America, and like we are a bridge away from Canada where we are.
Oh
like,
my
we
god!
can
Okay,
literally-
that makes sense to me. Like geographically, that makes sense.
We can literally drive to Canada from where we're at. Like that was like a big thing growing up because the drinking age here is 21, but in Canada it was 18 for a long time and then switched to 19. So like everybody who lives here when they turn 19 just goes right to Canada and parties.
Is it like a 15-minute drive?
For where we're at, I think it's like maybe 45 minutes, but from like the actual city of Buffalo, it's like 10.
It's from my house to get to Canada, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like to give you guys some context, me and Naz live in a place called Durban in South Africa, which is notoriously hot. So we average anywhere between like a cold day here is about like, or like your a cold day is from about like 18 degrees to 26 degrees Celsius. We average generally about 32 to anywhere upwards of 38 to 42 degrees, which is about, I just calculated, like 96 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I could deal with that.
it's pretty fucking hot. Like
we get about like
really humid.
2 to 3 months of hot weather like that here.
Yeah, then it's mostly like probably around like the low end of like probably 20 degrees Celsius.
Like even
20
winter here,
to
you can just
50.
like on an okay day in winter, like you can literally just go take a swim. You can go to the beach. Like it's fine.
Yeah,
I
you
wouldn't
can
suggest
try to
doing
do
that here winter.
We do a thing called the Polar Plunge around here every year, where it's like a charity event where a bunch of people get they get people to like pay them basically or contribute money for them to jump in the frozen water.
Yeah.
So crack a hole in the ice and then you'll jump in and like you go polar bear swimming and shit, and it's like a big charity event.
Jeremy, you said, "Ugh." Is that like your least favorite thing? Do you actually participate in this, bro?
No, I would never. I don't mind the cold too much because I'm a coffee drinker, and like when I drink coffee and it's hot out, people look at me like I'm a weirdo. But like at least during the cold months, I can like openly drink 19 cups of coffee a day without looking like a weirdo. Because
No, you still look like a weirdo for drinking 19 cups of coffee.
Less like a weirdo though, because if it's hot out and you drink,
you
19
basically
cups
just
of
run
hot
on
coffee-
caffeine. Like
Yeah. I mean, I make coffee myself, like roast it and everything. Like I'm.
it runs on anger and caffeine, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost more caffeine than anger. I don't know.
Yeah,
What I want to sort of touch on is something that I remember now from earlier that I wanted to say. And I'm stealing this from Marcel because he said he wanted to introduce you guys to a couple of South African bands. And from what Matthew was saying, sorry, dude. from what Matthew was saying, you know, with your guys' political views and stuff, and sort of just not being on the right wing side and not being on the left wing side, you guys should definitely check out a band called Volvadinia, because they've got some like really hectic, you know, political views as well. And I feel like if you guys gave them a listen, like it's sort of like a South African perspective on sort of a very similar view to what you guys have. So yeah, check them out. They do slam actually, so It's quite fucking good.
Oh fuck yeah! I love slam vocals. I could do them too, but I don't think they fit with our music too well. But I love slam vocals. Like that.
I wanted to ask, like, because we are, considering what we do, we are huge fans of our music scene. We don't. It's only recently that like international artists, guys from the States and other countries, have reached out to us, like yourself. And it's really cool getting such a different perspective. But now, with Naz bringing that up, it's a question I want to ask. Do you guys know any South African metal? Is it I'm not sure. No. It's something that comes up in your mind when you think of metal. Like, would you believe that we actually have like some pretty decent bands this side? And
I was going to say that when I was doing kind of research on the podcast, I was listening to the Metal Roundtable you guys did.
Yeah.
And that opened me up to like, I was like, in my head, I'm like, I'm so stupid because like, I always try to find new metal bands and things like that, like just new music to listen to. And I forget that there's like scenes outside of the United States, like as common sense as that sounds to like look in other countries for music, like quite literally like that whole like roundtable discussion you guys had. I'm like, you guys are talking about, what was it? The venue Burn and all that stuff. And I was like, this is all stuff I wouldn't have known about with like, there's no way. I don't even think I would have been able to find it looking it up. And like all the bands you guys had on and things like that. Like, I was just like, I don't think I would have even known about this like whole metal scene that exists somewhere else if I hadn't have listened to this. So like, yeah, that was kind of my intro to the music you guys have.
Two bands that I'd like to recommend that are probably two of my favorite South African metal bands. And that would be either, Red Helen.
Okay.
And a band called Facing the Gallows.
Facing the Gallows was on that episode, right? The roundtable?
The former vocalist, yes, Brian.
Okay, yeah, I checked them out. They were awesome.
They're like one of my favorite bands from this country. And just those two bands like have done our country proud. Like they've managed to do the Battle for Varken. They've managed to go play at Varken open air. And they're just two absolutely fantastic South African bands. Just to get you guys like, just some idea of what we're doing this side.
Is that Helen is Trading Paths for Pathways? Is that the album by them?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. All right, I added that to my Spotify.
I think that festival, what you guys we call it whacking here because we don't know how to speak. But like that festival, I think universally is like every metal band's dream.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So like when they were talking about that and stuff, I'm like, how have I not heard of this band? Like, and then I'm like looking up videos and like they're huge. I'm like Facing the Gallows. I'm like, I had no idea this band even existed, and they're huge.
Yeah, I think they got to open for Attila when Attila came to South Africa.
That's awesome. Yeah,
I love Attila.
Matt really likes Attila.
They get so much hate in our scene in our country, maybe even internationally. I don't know, but everyone hates on Attila. I fucking love Attila. I've always loved their shows. I've always loved their music. But yeah, fuck metal, American metal bands for a second. I'm really interested to like hear about like the international hardcore scene and stuff like that in metal that's like all around the world. I love it. Like it's one of the coolest things to me when like you can bond with people. Like you're in South Africa, we're in Buffalo, New York, like 5,000 miles away. It's crazy that we can bond over just music. Like
yeah, man, it's just like one of those. You can take two people from two completely different backgrounds, two completely different countries, and if they are both musicians, they will converse. They will talk. They will probably become friends, to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I studied abroad in Russia when I was in college, and now I have Russian like friends that are fans of our band now, and I think it's like one of the craziest. So dope. Yeah, it's one of the coolest things that it's ever happened to me, I think. Yeah.
One of our fans is living in Israel right now, so we have like 0.00001% of Israel likes us.
You gotta start somewhere, guys. I mean, that's the reality of it, and the mere fact that you've got that one person in Israel, it opens up a lot of opportunities because then he could have a mate and he could put his mate on, and it just grows from there. What I really just want to find out about you guys as well is, besides when you guys aren't making music as Wasted Space, what do you guys do like in general? besides, the band and all that. Like I can tell you now, Marcel, obviously you did say that we were working, in like in essential spaces and stuff, but I know that he's a fucking, what you call it? What's this game that you're playing, Marcel?
Apex Legends.
Apex. He's an Apex enthusiast. Yeah. So what is it that you guys do sort of in your spare time?
I was gonna say I'll go first because Jeremy has way more of a life than I do. So basically, my spare time, I work full time too outside of doing the band. So I work in banking. It's kind of lame.
What?
You know what?
Funny coincidence. I too work in a bank.
Really? Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. See, we're a bunch of corporate metalheads. Like, we snuck in somehow. But yeah, and then outside of that, like we actually, so something that's really helped us bond through this pandemic as a band is we all play Warzone together. We'll jump on Call of Duty and just freaking we win sometimes. We do win sometimes.
Yeah, we win sometimes, but
most of the time we're getting our asses kicked.
Yeah,
but
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, and I'm always, besides that, I'm always writing. Like I the way, like, especially with our the way our content rolls out for Wasted Space, we are constantly writing. Like as soon as we're in the studio, we're by the time we're out of that studio, we're like, all right, like next band practice, let's have some more riffs. Like we'll get some more lyrics, we'll get some more drum beats down. Like, it's just a constant process for us. So like in my spare time, I'm just kind of like a lot of video game playing and shit like that, being lame. There's not much to do around here, especially with the pandemic. But just a lot of it is just kind of focusing on writing and just listening to music, trying to get influence, trying to get inspired. Like basically a lot of it is doing research. I mean, just trying, like, I try to stay somewhat in the know of what's going on, just so I have, like, I can reference things in the music. I can talk about what's going on. And I think that, like, that's important, especially to kind of be like, because I look at music as a form of communication. And I think that the best way to communicate with somebody is to, try to know them the best you can. Otherwise than that, I'm pretty lame. But Jeremy does like fucking 80 different things. So
I sound busier than I am, but I also have a full-time job. I work as like a chef for professional athletes, and then I kind of have like a small like little side business. I roast and sell coffee. Still trying to kind of get it off the ground. Like have a few customers. Matt's probably my number one customer. This dude hits me up like every week for more coffee.
You need to send us like a coffee care package, man. I'd really love that.
Dude, I'd be all about it. Yeah, I'm waiting on some new beans to come in, so I'll have to roast them and all that. But yeah, I'd definitely.
You guys have a hot sauce that sponsors you or something? That
no, not a hot sauce. It's a beer. They've got the poison cannabis beer. I was gonna say I keep trying to find it. Like I've been all over the internet trying to find somewhere that I can buy and have that shipped to me.
You need to check out their website, man. We're gonna get in touch with them and see what can be organized. But everything basically goes through their website, and they did say they've got some stock that they're actually selling out in the States. But I'll do a follow up for you.
Funny, the thing is, I don't know if you know much about what's going on in South Africa. We actually, part of our COVID lockdown is an alcohol ban. Like we are literally going through a fucking prohibition. Like I shit you not, we're like the only alcohol that we can sell as a country is exports.
America would burn to the ground if they tried to
our country fucking it basically is. Like I need you to understand, like our country thrives with alcohol. Like I'm not painted in a bad light, but like you don't understand how this shit has wrecked our country.
I can imagine. Holy shit,
it's crazy because when lockdown started, like one of the only things that was open around here were liquor stores.
That's our first to go,
like straight up, like they were like, we can't stop selling booze. Like that will literally ruin the country.
Maybe you guys can sort of hold your liquor better than we can this side, because when the alcohol ban was not there, people were going apeshit. They were just going crazy. The numbers went up, and then when the ban sort of was sort of enforced, it wasn't as bad. Like numbers started going down a bit, but as soon as
we had one hospital that had like a 0 casualty on New Year's Eve. Because part of our alcohol ban got enforced we had it initially in the hard lockdown, and then again now over the festive period, and literally like our New Year's Eve's, like people fucking drop dead. Literally, like it gets rough. Like people just go nuts.
Wild.
And we literally had one hospital that had 0 patients in trauma on New Year's Eve, which was something that the staff had never experienced in their time being there.
See, what's crazy is over here is like alcohol use and alcohol sales and like all of that went up when the lockdown started, but the government here, like state governments and federal government, makes so much money on taxing alcohol and tobacco products and things like that. That's why it all stayed
as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, but carry on.
That would kill us. Me and Matt hang out at the cigar bar like every week. No, but like that's the thing is like alcohol sales, all of that stuff went up at the start of like our lockdown, and that's 100% why they kept it open and things like that, is because the government here makes so much money off of taxing alcohol. Like alcohol itself isn't that expensive of like a product to make. So they can tax the shit out of it, and they get most of the money from the sales.
You know, something that you mentioned there, Jeremy, about being a chef, you know, for these athletes, dude. Who's the most famous person you've like been a chef for, if any?
So right now I cook for the Buffalo Bills, which is an American football team. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the NFL out here. The football league here is probably the most popular thing, and football as in not soccer, not like European football and all that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, like I cook for one of the teams, and so I mean here it's probably sounds like much more of a big deal, but to you guys, you're like, you just cook for some dudes that throw a ball around, you know? Like I'm trying to think of what it would be the equivalent, like rugby's big there, right? I'm only saying that because I saw a movie about rugby in South Africa once, so
like we take our rugby very seriously. Like I don't
so
I'm
that's
not a fan
accurate.
of sports in general, but like funny story that you guys would have no context for. But anyway, I'm 6'4". I'm a big dude.
Holy shit! All right.
I grew up in Afrikaans neighborhood. Now Afrikaans people in South Africa, rugby is in their blood, brother. Like it is you either play rugby or you don't. And I was this fucking 6 foot 16-year-old white boy in an Afrikaans neighborhood who decided I want to make music instead of play rugby. I had a rough time in school, man.
Oh, right. Yeah. See, like I like that's kind of how football is here, right? Like I'm not like a tall dude, right? I'm only like 5'6", but I'm a big dude, right? Like I think in high school I was my height and weighed like 200 pounds, which is huge for a high school student, right? And for football, it's perfect for playing lineman, which is literally the guy that just blocks the other guy from getting your quarterback or whatever, like which is the dude who throws the ball. It's a lot like rugby and nothing like rugby at the same time. But like, yeah, same thing, man. Like people hated that I didn't play football. Like they wanted me to play so bad, and I ended up playing lacrosse. I don't know if you guys have if lacrosse is big out there.
I know what lacrosse is. Yeah.
Yeah, lacrosse is kind of big here, but like I mean, like a pro lacrosse player in America literally has to have a second job. Like that's how like underground professional lacrosse is here. But I played that, and like, yeah, so I mean, but like here, rugby is like super taboo. Like there's rugby teams, but like, I mean, like it's always at like the private schools and things like that. It's never really like a public school kind of thing.
Yeah, makes sense. So now just looking at the band, you know, we almost done. What was sort of in the pipeline? What's coming up with Oasis Space? We are in the new year, obviously 2021. What are the plans?
I mean, we're hitting the studio in like 2 weeks again. We got 2 more songs written. We're going to record those and put those up. And then I think hopefully make another music video. I think the music video thing really kind of helped us out with promoting a lot. And then, I mean, once the world's back to normal, I think we're going to hit the road immediately and try and tour.
Yeah, as soon as we can get back on stage and get back in, you know, out there, we're going to be trying to do that. But till then, you're going to be getting a lot of music from us, a lot of YouTube content from us, and you'll be, you know, hopefully you'll get tired of our faces.
When you guys set up that tour, please don't forget South Africa, because a lot of the bands do that. They just sort of just disregard South Africa. So we're looking forward to that Wasted Space show out here in South Africa.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, man. Begin to meet you guys in person too, hopefully, or something.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
We'd love to. Hell yeah.
We'll just roll through and show up randomly, be like, yeah, we were passing through.
Yeah,
Just passing through South
coffee
Africa.
shop in South Africa. We'll be here.
I'll be coming for that poison cannabis beer.
You'll definitely have some stocked up for you guys. I don't know, Marcel, is there anything else on your side, bro? Before we close out.
Man, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we just want to thank you guys as well for reaching out to us. It was super special, and we really enjoyed learning about you guys. And yeah, Matthew, Jeremy, thank you as well for tuning in and listening to a couple of the episodes. Really appreciate that, and we just hope that it doesn't stop here. We are an option when you guys come down. You've got friends in us. If we ever want to work on anything else, we're pretty much open. So I think in closing, you guys can just give us your handles and everything where people can get in touch with you or listen to your music. Now's the time.
Matt, you want me to do that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. On Instagram, I believe I'm gonna have to.
I'm pulling it up, Ryan. Pulling it up right
now. We're both like, oh man, what are we on everything? I mean, we're on Facebook as Wasted Space. I think it's facebook.com/Wasted Space Hardcore.
Instagram Wasted Space 716.
Yeah, at Wasted Space 716 for the Instagram. You can find me at Jeremy_Wasted Space on Instagram.
You can find me at Wow It's Matt.
And I think we have a Wasted Space website too, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
I've been on it while we've been doing this and just checking out some stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I think it's Wasted. I think is it just wastedspaceofficial.com?
Yes.
Wasted Space official store, I think, possibly.
No, yeah, it's at wastedspaceofficial.com, I believe.
Wastedspaceofficial.com.
I think we have like two merch items on there because we're still building our repertoire, but yeah. And then obviously check us out on Spotify as Wasted Space. There might be a couple other bands on there, but it'll be pretty easy to find us because I think our picture makes us look the most hardcore out of all of them. So it's black and white. Everybody looks really tough. Yeah, that's everything, I think.
All of our links too for everything. It's all in our link tree in the bio of our Instagram page. You'll be able.
I think our Twitch stream, like everything, our Twitch stream that no one watches, but yeah.
To also make it easier for our listeners as well, we're going to be taking that Linktree link and we're just going to put it in the description of this episode, so people do have access to all of that. And sick, yeah. To anyone who's listening to this, the episodes are going up on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and also on SoundCloud. We are Sludge Underground Podcast on Twitter at Sludge031, on Instagram at Sludge Underground, and on Facebook at Sludge Underground. Marcel, who are you online?
Okay, sweet. I am Marcel Smuts on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Please check out my channel, as well as Instagram on Thorns of Sludge. Please check those out.
All right, sick. And as for myself, it's at Zwane031. We're going to be closing out with Youthanasia by Wasted Space. It's been a really awesome one. And until next time, it is bye for now. Youthanasia! We're falling faster. I'll just sit back and enjoy my laughter. I don't really give a fuck what's anyone else, and I'm much more intimate by myself. Trust me, you'll really do one or you. I like clear game behind the scenes, and I would rather just keep my thoughts to me. Why waste my time when no one's listening? They want to just yell at each other. This whole culture's something to stuff, but I don't wanna choose to be this shit. Let's get to the end and we'll make it quick and never be remembered. Let's clean the slate before it's too late. And for all fuck's sake, I'm saying we should just get it over. We all meet under the sun. I hope you play all of your gun. I promise that it will be fun once all the shooting has begun. Move on, move on, move on. Let's all kill each other. Move on, move on, move on. Let's all kill each other. We become diseased, but in our sickness we are fine. Let's wait for death to breathe. We'll learn to live.
All the fire!